Welcome back to the deep dive. So let's talk about data pipelines. You set up a few with a tool like Airbyte, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Data starts flowing, you see those dashboards light up. It feels pretty good.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
initial setup can be really satisfying.
But then, well, things grow. Your business expands, you add more sources, and suddenly you're managing dozens, maybe even hundreds of these pipelines. Critical systems depend on them.
And that's where it gets tricky.
Exactly, building that first one.
Okay.
But keeping all of them humming along reliably when you're operating at scale, that's a whole different ballgame. So the question we're digging into is, how do you scale something like Airbyte without reliability just falling apart?
Yeah, that's the core problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's exactly what we're unpacking in this deep dive looking at the source material you mentioned. Airbyte itself is, well, it's great. It's open source, really flexible,
Hyper flexible.
and it makes getting those first connections up super fast. You get data moving almost immediately.
Absolutely. It's kind of designed for that quick win. But, like the source points out, that initial ease, it can sometimes hide the complexity that creeps in later.
Right.
As the business scales, you get more sources, way more data volume, and the demands for, freshness and accuracy just keep climbing. It shifts from just, can we move the data, to can we always move this data reliably, securely, consistently, no matter what?
And that's where teams start hitting walls.
They feel the strain.
And the central idea from this material, the real insight, is that scaling Airbyte reliably, it isn't just about adding more connectors or throwing more compute power at it.
Not just the tech.
No. Fundamentally, it's about whether your team has the right expertise, the right operational mindset to manage all that complexity at scale.
Okay, let's dig into that a bit. Why does scaling create so much operational risk? What are the specific challenges the source calls out?
Well, think about it like this. Every single pipeline you add, that's another potential point of failure.
Right. More moving parts.
Exactly. And at scale, you're suddenly dealing with maybe dozens, potentially hundreds of different APIs you're pulling data from.
Yeah.
And each one has its own, let's say, personality.
Personality. Okay.
Yeah, rate limits that change on you without warning, schemas that drift and break your transformations, weird error codes you have to decipher. It's a lot.
I see. So quirks everywhere.
Quirks everywhere. Add to that the sheer volume of data increasing, trying to schedule all these syncs so they don't crash the source systems or overload your data warehouse.
Oh, yeah, the scheduling nightmare.
Right. It all just creates this environment where things can and do go wrong much more often. A perfect storm for potential failures, really.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just configuring Airbyte itself, it's managing that whole ecosystem interacting with it. So what skills there? What are the advanced capabilities the source says are absolutely essential for managing these risks, for keeping things reliable?
The material really highlights a few key areas. First off, robust observability. It's just non-negotiable.
Okay. Seeing what's actually happening.
Yeah, exactly. You need the ability to really see inside your data platform, not just, wait for an angry email saying a dashboard is broken. This means properly implementing and using tools like, say, Prometheus, Grafana, Datadog, those kinds of things.
So being proactive, not reactive. Got it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Then you need engineers who can perform deep root cause analysis. Because when something does fail, the issue might not just be in the Airbyte logs.
Right. It could be anywhere.
It could be the source system acting up, a network glitch, maybe something in the destination warehouse. You need people who can trace that problem end to end across different systems.
Like data detectives, basically, sleuthing across the whole stack.
That's a good way to put it. Infrastructure management skills are also super important, especially if you're self-hosting Airbyte.
Yeah, the self-hosted path.
You need engineers comfortable with containerization, Docker, Kubernetes. Managing that infrastructure layer effectively is key to reliability. And honestly, many traditional data teams haven't had to own that before.
That's often new ground.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And finally, the source puts a lot of emphasis on change management, having solid processes designed around reliability. Processes that let you make changes, add new sources, update connectors safely and predictably without accidentally breaking things.
Okay, so it's not just about having smart engineers, but having engineers with these specific types of expertise, plus the right processes in place. This feels less like just a technical problem and more like a strategic one for the whole data organization.
It absolutely is. The article frames it exactly that way, not just an engineering puzzle, but something data leaders and the wider organization need to tackle strategically.
So how does this translate into action? What does this mean for different people in the company?
Good question. Let's break that down. If you're a data leader, the key question shifts.
Yeah.
It's not just, are we using Airbyte? It becomes, does my team have the right mix of skills and the operational discipline to run Airbyte like a true production-grade enterprise system?
Right, treating it seriously.
Exactly. And that often means investing strategically. Maybe it's training your current team on observability tools or infrastructure management. Maybe it's bringing in people with, say, SRE site reliability engineering or DevOps backgrounds, people who live and breathe building reliable systems.
Bringing in specialists.
Potentially.
Mhm.
It also means setting up clear service level agreements, SLAs, for your data pipelines, defining expectations around freshness, quality, and then actually monitoring against them with that robust observability we talked about.
That really clarifies the shift from just building pipelines to guaranteeing their reliability with actual service levels.
Okay, what about the engineers on the ground? The data engineers or platform engineers?
For engineers, the article positions mastering these reliability-focused skills as a major career booster, being the person who can effectively tune Airbyte performance under heavy load or build automated monitoring that catches issues before users do.
Yeah, that's valuable. Or gracefully handle schema drift across 50 different sources. That's huge. These are the skills that take you from being someone who just builds pipelines to someone who architects a reliable data platform. Employers are definitely looking for engineers who can maintain stability at scale, not just do the initial setup. It builds confidence.
It's about building trust in the whole data platform, not just adding more connections. Makes sense. And what if you're an organization that's scaling really fast right now?
If you're in that rapid growth phase, the source suggests this is a really critical moment to pause and assess. Do we actually have the internal expertise and, frankly, the bandwidth to build this reliable foundation ourselves right now?
Or do we need help?
Exactly. Or does it make sense to bring in outside experts to help lay that foundation correctly and quickly? It might also be the time to look hard at your Airbyte deployment strategy itself. Is the way you've set it up really suited for the reliability demands that come with high growth?
That lays out the challenge and the required capabilities very clearly. So scaling Airbyte, it's definitely a process, a journey, and reliability isn't optional. It's actually fundamental if you want that growth to be sustainable.
Absolutely. It's the difference between your data platform being an enabler of rapid scaling versus becoming a frustrating bottleneck that holds you back. And for anyone wanting the full breakdown, the source article, I believe is titled Scaling Airbyte Reliably, Does Your Team Have the Right Expertise? Goes into much more detail.
Good to know. And the article also points out, right, that if your organization needs help strengthening data platform reliability, or if you as an individual want to build these skills, resources like Curate Partners are mentioned.
Yeah, they're highlighted as potentially helping with things like strategic assessments of your current setup or connecting companies with the kind of reliability-focused engineers we've been discussing.
Building up that expertise one way or another.
That's the key takeaway, really.
It really is. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you think about your own data pipelines, your own company's growth, just consider how much hidden operational risk might be lurking in your current scaling strategy. And maybe what's just one specific thing you could start doing, maybe even today, to build a more reliable foundation for whatever comes next.